One of the things I've always said is that the true wireless buds is something that is very personal. We use them on a personal level. This is something that is an experience on our own. We listen to them by ourselves. We don't share this experience. And of course, that's starting to become more of a feature that also may be a device-specific type of a thing. I'm talking about these Samsung Galaxy Buds 2 Pro, the latest edition of wireless buds that Samsung released right along the time where we saw the brand new Galaxy Z Fold 4 and the Z Flip 4. So today I'm going to give you guys my review, and I'm going to share with you guys some of the experiences that may change depending on the device that you're using these buds with. This is TK, and these are the Galaxy Buds 2 Pro. Let's check them out. Like and subscribe to make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified to whenever we have new videos on the channel. So here is the Galaxy Buds 2 Pro. I was testing them at the same time with the Z Fold 4, the Z Flip 4, as well as one of my other devices, and we'll get to that a little bit later on. As far as what we get in the box, we get the buds themselves. Very nice. I got the black one. There's 3 different colors available. This is, of course, tuned by AKG, as we've typically seen from Samsung. Single LED in the front for indication of battery level as well as charge. Wireless charging, USB-C on the back, and of course, very nice. And one of the biggest things about them also is the fact that they're smaller than what we've seen in the past. As far as what else we get in the box, we have a USB-C to C cable to be able to charge up our buds. Of course, you can charge them directly from anything. And of course, replaceable tips. There are 2 already installed on the unit, and there's 2 different sets. So a large, medium, and small, and of course the mediums are already pre-installed on the actual buds. Now, some of the main features that they have in here, between 5 to 18 hours of usage, so 5 to 18 hours of playtime, depending if you have ANC on or off. So basically 5 hours with ANC on, 8 hours without, and of course recharge with the batteries that we have in the case. That'll give you the ability of using them longer. Comfortable fit, this is definitely true. They are very comfortable. They're definitely smaller and lighter than what we've seen before. Active noise cancellation is one top-notch services that we have on this device, and of course it is almost second to none. Last but not least is ultimate hi-fi sound with 2-way speakers, and we're going to be able to talk about the 360 reality and directional audio that we'll be able to play depending on the music player app that you get. Compatibility as far as usage here, pretty much standard. You download the Wear app. The one thing I will say though, they are going to run differently depending on the device that you're connecting them to. Now what I mean by that is if you're connecting it to a Samsung device that's running One UI 4.0 or greater, meaning the last couple of generations of Samsung devices, you're going to get some of their best audio tuning. I'm talking about 24-bit 48 kilohertz audio performance on these buds from a Samsung device with a compatible music application. So by default, this is going to be the best experience, and that's one of the things that they've been touting on at the launch event. It's why this is supporting a Samsung proprietary codec that runs pretty much on Samsung devices. Again, One UI 4.0 or greater. Now, if you're using it with a device that is not a Samsung device, it is going to default back to AAC as a codec. Now, it's not a bad codec, and that means essentially some of the things that we've heard from Samsung at the launch event are starting to become more device-specific, running a specific version of software. And of course, if you use it with anything else, you'll be able to use the buds, get the same, somewhat ANC, battery life, and so on. But overall, as far as performance, AAC is going to be the best. Now, before we get into the actual application that you need to be able to customize the experience on the buds themselves, I've been testing it out with Google Play Music. I'm using it with Music, Amazon Music HD, as well as Tidal, and of course Spotify. So those are the music applications. I didn't get a chance to play too many podcasts that, again, I was testing it out mostly from music. But to be able to customize it, you do need to download the Wear application. Now, if you're using this obviously on a non-Samsung device, you do need to switch it over. Now, if you are using this on a non-Samsung device, you do definitely need to download this application from the Google Play Store. For the most part, most Samsung devices have the Wear app already pre-installed. Now, you notice that it says they're off as far as noise control, and that's because they're not in my ear. But if I put them in my ear, I have it set automatically to go to ambient sound because that's the last mode that was turned on. And if I press and hold on it, it'll turn on to go to active noise cancellation, and it is literally one of the best options. I use this on a plane, I use it around the house, and even sitting next to my PC, and it's as if those two things are not even next to me. So it's crazy how nice the ANC is running really here. And of course, you can control it in the application. You can switch between the different mode and go back to normal. Now, as far as your best battery life, obviously the off mode is going to give you the best experience. What I mean by this, essentially, if ANC is off, you're going to get about 8 hours of playback per for those 2 buds. With ANC on, roughly about 4.5 hours. They're claiming about 5. You'll notice that we have the battery level for not only the right and left earbud, but also the case that you can see here directly. And of course, this is where we'd be able to customize it. Voice detect, this is something that if you'd like to be able to lower the volume of the audio, if you notices that you're talking, this is a good feature. Unfortunately, it also works against us if you like to sing to your music. So if you ever even say something in the middle of a song, it'll lower the volume. So I typically leave that feature off. 360 audio works as exactly as advertised, works really nice with both buds. You need to turn that feature on, and of course head tracking turned on feature. Now for this to work, you do need to actually activate a 360 audio track. For me, I've been enjoying that mostly here running directly on here the Amazon Music HD service. So I'll go ahead and turn it on. And you just need to find, I'll give it a second. And what essentially that means, we need to find tracks that show the 360 reality audio that will enable us to enjoy that content. And what essentially that means is, depending on your orientation to the actual player, if you turn your face to the right, the music plays on the right side of the actual butt, because that's essentially where the directional experience is coming from. You turn your face the other way, it'll do the exact. And if you're facing it straight dead on, you'll get that perfect stereo experience. It's supposed to emulate as if you actually had the player sitting in front of you as a speaker, and the audio is coming to you as a directional experience. So it becomes very nice. So again, you do need to turn on that feature with head tracking, and that'll give you the ability of enjoying it. So this is something that you can go in here, turn on head tracking, will enable you to get that experience. As I'm explaining to you here, you notice if you turn your ear, it'll basically amplify the audio depending where your ear is, depending again on the source of the data, so where the device is sitting. So it's not about moving the phone, it's more about moving your head while the phone stays stationary. So for this, I do turn it off. It definitely does eat up a little bit more battery. As far as touch control, pretty much we have single tap, double tap, triple tap, and there's an experimental option to be able to do that. Now there's the double tap and basically touch and hold. But of course, the touch and hold gives you the ability between switching active noise cancellation by default, or you're able to turn on specifically the volume up, volume down, or even activate specific Spotify. Unfortunately, there is no activation of your Google Assistant or your personal assistant different than what Bixby is on this, because that's pretty much the only supported function that we have. On the earbud option, we have equalizer, earbud fit test, of course, read notification allowed when you get those notifications on your device, and of course the Bixby voice wake up option, because that's the only assistant supported here. Now, the use of ambient sound while during calls, it's more of a personal preference. Do you want to be more aware of your surrounding when you're on a call? Kind of like if you're using the phone and you have it into one ear, you can still hear from the other side, so it helps a little bit. In-ear detection for calls, definitely very nice. Seamless earbud connection. You can easily transition between two devices that use the Samsung account. Of course, this is using the cloud service. Next stretch reminder, this is something that again helps. We typically have those on the watches, reminds us to actually walk around or exercise. As far as labs, we have the double tap earbud feature that is present now at the bottom left. It's a little bit tricky, but if you master it, this is definitely very nice. And of course, gaming mode for lower latency to enable us to enjoy a little bit better response when you're playing games on your device. Resetting them, accessibility, earbud software update, of course, you can be able to go in there and update them yourself. If there is an update available, it will check and it'll generally give you the information. If there is typically an update, it will push it to you, but of course, the buds are running the latest information. As far as about, again, this is the information software, battery information. What we get here essentially is rated. Battery capacity is 61 milliampere. This is what we're getting there. And of course, the battery capacity is 515 milliampere, and that's on the case itself. And that's pretty much it. Customization for the most part is pretty straightforward. You get it, you customize it, and you learn everything. And again, you're able to basically customize the charging experience depending on what you want. You can charge it wirelessly from your device. So let's say your device supports wireless charging or reverse wireless charging. You can put them on the back, charge them. And of course, if you have a device that doesn't support that, you can definitely use your standard USB-C charging cable. Very nice, very easy, and it makes it to basically work very, very nicely. Now, the buds themselves look really nice. We have obviously speakers, microphones going on and everything, and of course we have the connectors in the back. They are indicated with right and left and easy to use. All you have to do is pretty much put them in. Just take the buds themselves, put them in, and make sure it sits in the inside or the cradle part of your ear. And overall, I think it's pretty much very easy to customize. The one thing I will say, again, you do need to download the application to customize it, although you don't need it to play the music. So jump into your favorite music application, but keep in mind, obviously, the higher quality music player that you're using, that the better experience is going to be. So to be able to get the best experience, you do need to use it on a One UI device with One UI 4.0 Samsung running device. And of course, be it a tablet or a smartphone, you'll get the same experience. One thing I will say, all of these features that I shared with you guys will not work if you connect it directly to your watch. You're able to listen to music off the watch, but none of these extra features of head tracking, higher bitrate, and so on, because again, the watch itself does not have all those functionalities built into them. But let's talk about the actual music app and what we're talking about right now. So I have the spatial audio turned on. Essentially, the music player is sitting roughly kind of to where you guys are, down a little bit to the right. So the audio for me, if I start playing the music, I'll go ahead and play the track. It's playing in that direction. And if I start turning my head, it's playing more in my right ear. My left ear doesn't get as much. Obviously, the music doesn't get louder. It just changes direction with me depending on my orientation of the head. If I do the same thing, go this way, the left ear gets the music and the right ear doesn't. It's a personal preference, but again, the track has to support it, and you have to have that feature turned on in the Wear app. By default, that feature is not turned on. Now, when it comes down to the best audio experience and the best way to be able to experience it is basically find an Ultra HD track either on Amazon Music, Tidal, or Qobuz. Again, high quality music players will typically give you that experience, and you are going to notice the difference between standard playback at AAC and when you're jumping into the next level audio experience. One thing to mention though, again, you need to have the right player, and and the music itself has to be in Ultra HD, or at least in mastered audio if you're using Tidal. So an example, when you're looking at the actual phone right there, there is an Ultra HD functionality that gives you the ability of seeing exactly what the audio capabilities and what your device can perform at. And that means, as you see there, 24-bit 48 kilohertz is pretty much what the track is best recorded at, and of course the device plays it at that level, and therefore we get the best experience this way. I like Amazon Music because it gives you that specific detail. On Tidal, it just pretty much references it as a mastered or basically hi-fi audio or mastered audio. As long as you have the right account, you should be able to enjoy it. One tap, right? Double tap. Come on, goes back, and then you stop it. Now, if I want to be able to switch on between active noise cancellation and ambient mode, pretty straightforward. You press and hold, gives you a little bit of a chime, and then you start hearing the other side. And then for the most part, active noise cancellation works really good at canceling everything, and ambient mode does the opposite, where it gives you the ability of listening to things around you. I've been able to conduct conversations very nicely and very easily with people using the buds in my ear, and it works really good. Just keep in mind, again, the functionalities that you want to turn on. You can either turn on voice detection, means if it recognizes you talking, it lowers the volume, and of course the ability of making it easier to communicate with people. Or if you want to be able to have ambient mode turned on when you're picking up calls, meaning your ears will listen to the audio from the call, but it'll also listen to some of the surrounding area, so you're a little bit more aware. But let's go ahead and jump in real quick to a video sample showing you guys how does the audio sound from the microphones on the brand new Buds 2 Pro. So for a quick example of what the audio sounds like from the Buds 2 Pro, obviously this is going to be a quick recording. I'm using the Z Fold 4, recording them directly with an audio coming in. There's a little bit of a wind coming up, so you may be able to hear that, or you may not actually be able to. I don't have active noise cancellation turned on, although you can, and again, have a little bit more of a personal experience. When it comes down to audio, this is seriously one of the better options that I've heard from Samsung. Deep bass, really good mids and highs, and of course everything is well pronounced, and you're able to obviously turn on the bass if you'd like to be able to get a little bit more of a bassy tune, or you can turn it down depending on the EQ. Keep in mind we have 360 reality audio, spatial audio essentially. We also have Amazon Ultra HD music, Tidal mastered, a lot of different options that we're able to use here, and seriously, they will not disappoint. When it comes to audio performance, Samsung has been able to do some really good audio tuning here, specifically for Samsung devices. AKG has always been their strong suit. They've been using them to tune their audio for some time. We still have Dolby configuration, which is something that's built into our devices, so you're able to customize your audio, again, not only with the Samsung Wear app, but also the music player. So if you have Dolby, it will switch on. Amazon Music also supports Dolby, which I found to be a really nice little premium there. It switches away from the standard, basically Samsung's codec, but it still gives us the ability of enjoying the content. They're small, they're easy to use, easy to charge, easy to carry, and that was one of the biggest pluses for me. So when I was traveling to Berlin, I got them literally the day before, the weekend actually before I was actually going on a trip internationally. So these were definitely a must-have for me when I was traveling, again with the Z Fold 4 and the Z Flip 4. For overall performance, your best experience is going to be on a Samsung device. It doesn't mean it's not going to sound good on other devices, but you need to understand that the claims that they're making are primarily meant for the Samsung device. So as long as you're running a Samsung device with One UI 4.0, so a recent last few years Samsung device, you're pretty much set. You're going to get the best experience on here as long as you pair it with the right music app. It is going to make all your other music sound better. With the Bluetooth 5.3 that we're getting here in IPX7, they're definitely getting better performance and range. I was really surprised. I have my phone typically left here in the office, in the studio, and I walk around the entire house, and not once did I lose music control. So there was no ever an issue there. Now pair this obviously with a Samsung watch, and you obviously have your music controls on your watch at the same time as your phone, which makes it easy to actually switch away. If you want to be able to go outside and go for a run, pair these buds directly to your watch, Samsung watch or other devices. You'll also be able to get music playback from them. Just keep in mind the features are primarily meant for devices like a tablet or a smartphone, where you're able to download and customize the experience there. So would I recommend these buds for anybody looking to pick up a brand new pair of buds from Samsung? I would probably say is if you're a Samsung owner, yeah, it's a no-brainer. If you're running a device within the last couple of years, this is definitely going to be the best solution for you on the market today from Samsung. If you're a non-Samsung user, or maybe even something like that, maybe let's say you have a Samsung device and you have, let's say, an iPhone or another device that's not a Samsung device. The audio experience is not going to go bad. I think the main thing that you want to be aware here is it does change codec, and that doesn't mean that the sound just goes to trash. It just means it's just a different codec. So as long as you're comfortable and you understand that some of the best features will be kept for Samsung devices, I think your experience is going to be pretty much set, and you're at the right level. You know exactly what you're expecting. So At the end of the day, I'll probably say is that this is literally the best that Samsung has to offer in 2022. And if you're looking to get the best, this is the only solution at this point. Now, obviously the Buds 2 are still pretty decent. And of course, what we've seen before with the Buds Live, there are other options from Samsung. It's not going to be the only solution, but this is the best one that they've had. I would have liked to see that the codec would have been maybe LDAC, or maybe, let's say, going with LHDC as opposed to more of a Samsung proprietary, but I understand Samsung is keeping it in-house. Also, I would love to be able to use the assistant, the regular Google Assistant, the way we have it on the Samsung Watch. Since this is running Wear OS, we're able to. Now, this technically isn't, but again, it's connected to an Android smartphone that runs the Android Assistant, so I'm not going to say the name of the assistant. So at the end of the day, these are great buds. My hope is that you found this video helpful. Like and subscribe as usual. Thank you very much for the support, and I'll see you in the next one.